What's your reaction to the ebbs and flows of the conversation that's been coming from this end? There's the talk of dialogue, there's talk of dismissing the same dialogue. Where do you stand on this?
This has been such a heated debate. From where I stand, there must be goodwill before coming to the table to dialogue, and goodwill in the sense that they have already stated, some of them have mentioned some of those things, that for there to be goodwill, there has to be justice for for the fallen heroes. Because right now what we have been seeing is that there is lack of accountability for all the people who were killed during the protests, the June 25th and the Sabasaba, and even last year's June 25th. People are yet to be, there is no prosecution yet or that has concluded, and someone has been charged and sentenced and held accountable for these deaths. No one has been held accountable for the injuries. No one has been held accountable for the goons that have been coming into places, even into hospitals, into offices, into homes. No one is there to be held accountable. And to me, from where I stand, how are you able to dialogue with someone who is killing you, who is threatening your life and your livelihood? And so that goodwill has to be there before we can sit on the table. We need to first see that there is some goodwill from the government.
All right. Mulamba?
Let me start with the dialogues that we've had before and the dialogues we should not have had. There wasn't supposed to be a dialogue in 1963 for the independence of this country, because rightly, how do you dialogue with a colonialist who's taken your land and is taken all the factors of production and is running them on your behalf? What was there to dialogue about? There wasn't supposed to be a dialogue. Well, there wasn't even a dialogue in 1992. Because Moi ceded to public pressure and international pressure, and he forced his MPs to repeal Section 2A. That brought us back to multi-party politics, and that introduced the two-term limit for the presidency. There wasn't supposed to be a dialogue in 2007 because Kibaki lost the elections. It is the truth that no one wants to say. And that is possibly the situation that is going to be in this country in 2027. And I hope and fear that is not going to happen. That a president loses an election, and because the president is still the president until he hands over power, decides not to relinquish power. So Kibaki forced this country into a dialogue which should not have happened. Raila Odinga won the elections of 2007. Martha Karua knows this. Kivuitu knows this. And everyone who seriously followed politics in this country knows this. I do not support Raila Odinga at the moment because he's shown us his true colors. But the truth and the fact of the moment is there wasn't supposed to be a dialogue in 2007. And that's why I'm opposing this idea of a dialogue, because we are conveniently shoving this idea. Well, the idea has been brought by Raila Odinga. He's the biggest proponent of this thing because he wants. This is the idea of President William Ruto too. They want to dissuade the current political outcry. They want to stem the current uprising. The dialogue they are proposing is a structured conversation that is meant to kill the genuine clamor for better governance. The dialogue they want is a mere formality, a cosmetic exercise that pretends and purports to bring order into this country and to resolve the issues we are raising. But in the real sense, they do not want to resolve anything. They want to appear to do something, but not do anything at all. And that's why we are opposed to the idea of a dialogue. We do not need a dialogue to solve corruption. We do not need a dialogue to end police brutality. We do not need a dialogue to curb the wastage of public funds. We do not need a dialogue to put this country on the right pedestal. We do not need a dialogue to enact and to fulfill the Constitution of Kenya. We do not need a dialogue for the same. And that's why we are opposed to this idea, because we know where this dialogue conversation is going. It is going to create and curate a narrative where the public will think that the Gen Zs have been appeased, that we are now comfortable with how government is being run, and that our genuine agitation has been killed, and that now we are comfortable with a Ruto presidency. And that's how they are going to sneak in the two-term narrative. So they are laying groundwork for the 2027 campaigns, and we are opposed to that. And I would also like to respond to Mzee here, who told us that he is afraid for his only son, that he does not want his son to join protests. And to him, The only reason that the Gen Zs are going to the streets is because they are saying they have a right in the Constitution to protest, but probably is listening to the wrong Gen Zs. We have so many reasons to go to the streets. One, we are ensuring that we put a check and a balance to this democracy, the young child we have here, because our democracy is not so old. If we do not exercise our right to protest, and if we do not protest in the first place, we are going to give William Ruto unprecedented control over this country. We are going to breed a dictator. He already is, but he needs more fuel. And if he and his government and his cabinet continue misbehaving and continue the malfeasance we see, and no one says anything about it, we are going to enable a dictator. And the dictator we birth, we will only have ourselves to blame.
All right.
So he's listening to the wrong people. And as I wind up, I have seen and heard some of the disillusioned people, especially in his hedge, saying that we should not go to the streets because we will be shot. Then isn't that blaming the victim here? You're not blaming the police for overreaching. You're not blaming the CS for issuing illegal orders. You're not blaming the oppressor, you're blaming the victim. Is that the route we need to go? And as I wind up, this generation that is of our parents, our fathers and our grandparents have failed us because they had one duty, the duty we have now and the duty we carry so proudly, to check the governments and the regimes that have come before us. And most of them failed us. During the Uhuru regime, when Uhuru was borrowing money left, right, and center, when corruption was the order of the day, their generation was silent. And now they have the guts to lecture us when we've woken them up because they were politically unconscious. So they do not have the moral authority whatsoever to lecture us when they sat down comfortably when Uhuru was stealing and looting this country. We need to ensure that they understand we are on the right trajectory. Come blood, come death, we shall continue fighting.
All right, thank you.
Viva Mulamba, viva.